My curiosity has always been my downfall. It started with an innocent fascination for technology, the kind that leads you down rabbit holes of obscure forums and shadowy corners of the internet. But one night, I went too far. It was a little after midnight when I stumbled upon a forum discussing the deepest parts of the dark web. I had heard the stories of illegal markets, hitmen for hire, and things much worse. I was intrigued, but I had never considered going there myself. That night, though, something compelled me to dig deeper. Maybe it was the boredom, or maybe it was the thrill of doing something I knew I shouldn't have. I followed the breadcrumbs, links buried in layers of hidden forums, until I found it, a download link. The file name was cryptic, just a string of random letters and numbers. The thread was titled, True Horror, with dozens of warnings from users saying not to download the file. Naturally, that just made me want to do it more. I hesitated for a moment, hovering my cursor over the link. A small voice in my head told me to stop, but I ignored it. I clicked the link, and within seconds, the file was on my desktop. It was small, only a few megabytes. The icon was blank, just a black square, but it felt heavy, like something was pressing down on my chest as I stared at it. I double-clicked it. The screen went black. I cursed, thinking I had downloaded some kind of virus, but then the screen flickered back on, showing a single window. It was a video player, and the play button was blinking. There was no title, no description, just a timestamp that read 0 minutes and 0 seconds. With a shaky hand, I clicked play. At first, there was nothing but static. Then, a low hum filled my speakers, growing louder and louder until it was almost unbearable. I was about to close the window when the video abruptly cut to a dark room. The camera was shaky, the image grainy, but I could make out a figure in the center of the frame, tied to a chair. My heart began to race as the camera zoomed in. The person was gagged, their eyes wide with fear. I tried to pause the video, but the controls were unresponsive. The timestamp was frozen at 0 minutes and 0 seconds, even though the video was still playing. A door creaked open somewhere off screen, and heavy footsteps echoed through the speakers. I watched in horror as another figure, masked and dressed in black, entered the frame. They moved slowly, deliberately, circling the person in the chair like a predator stalking its prey. Then, the screen glitched, and for a split second, I saw something else. My own reflection in the monitor, but distorted. My face was twisted, my eyes hollow and black. I blinked, and the image was gone, replaced by the dark room and the two figures. The masked figure reached into their pocket and pulled out a knife. I could hear the person in the chair whimpering, but the sound was distorted, like it was coming from underwater. The figure stepped closer, lifting the knife above their head. I tried to close the window again, but my computer was frozen. I couldn't even move the mouse. I wanted to look away, but something forced me to keep watching. The screen flickered again, and suddenly, I was in the video. I was the one tied to the chair. I could feel the ropes digging into my wrists, the gag cutting into the corners of my mouth. I tried to scream, but the sound was muffled. The masked figure stood over me, the knife glinting in the dim light. I struggled against the ropes, but they only tightened. The figure brought the knife down, and I felt a searing pain in my chest. I looked down, expecting to see blood, but there was nothing. Just a deep, cold emptiness where the knife had struck. The screen glitched again, and I was back in my room, staring at the monitor. My heart was pounding, my breathing ragged. The video had ended, the player window closed, my desktop was empty, and the file was gone. I stumbled back from the desk, feeling sick. It was just a video, I told myself, but it felt so real. I could still feel the phantom pain in my chest, the pressure of the ropes around my wrists. I shut down my computer and went to bed, but sleep didn't come easily. I kept seeing that distorted reflection in my mind, those hollow, black eyes staring back at me. When I woke up the next morning, I told myself it was just a nightmare, a trick of the mind. But when I sat down at my desk, I saw it. A small cut on my chest, right where the knife struck through me in the video. It wasn't deep, but it was enough to make my blood run cold. I never went back to that forum. I never spoke of what happened to anyone. But every night since, I've had the same dream. I'm back in that dark room, tied to the chair, the masked figure standing over me. And each time, the cut on my chest grows a little deeper.